What's up guys, it's Jazz. Welcome to the Neurodivergent Dog Trainer, and today we're going to be talking about 5 things that you need to know before you get a puppy or adopt a dog from a shelter. That being said, let's get into it. These are going to be honest realities that I was not prepared for. That being said, this is what I've learned having puppies for 2 months, and they're just now starting to chill out. Number 1, puppies are going to constantly take you to your breaking point and push you past it. Best advice for this, crates are your best friend, and headphones. Just invest in a good pair of headphones. And if you can't afford it, a dog camera, I'll link the one that I use in the description below. I'll also link the headphones I use if I can find them, but they were provided to me by my job as like a welcome to working here thing. So I don't really know which ones I have. I've had them for like 2 years now. Let's dive a bit more into that. So puppies are very, very loud. It's how they get attention. They let their mom know that they need milk or they need something by barking and whining at them. And then mom comes back, takes care of them. But they're also, that's how they play. That's how they talk with their siblings and figure out, hey, this is how our world works. So yeah, keep that in mind. Especially if you're only, and I highly recommend only having one puppy at a time. I probably will never have multiple puppies at the same time again because it's so much more difficult if I'm being fully honest here. But you gotta think about it from their perspective. You just took them away from everything they've known for the first 8 weeks of their life. But you have taken this puppy away from its litter that could be anywhere from 2 to 10 puppies, and now it just has to listen. Another thing that you're gonna run into is that for the first few weeks, you're going to be cleaning up accidents constantly. We'll get more into routines and how to prevent that later on. But honestly, just make a 50-50 solution of vinegar and like white distilled vinegar and water, and that's going to take care of 90% of your issues. Potty accidents will stain your carpets. Get a carpet cleaner. But the vinegar will actually kill the pheromones that make it smell like, ooh, this is where I go to go potty. And when your dog poops and has a poop accident, as long as it's solid enough to pick that up, go with your dog, take your dog outside to the poop spot, put the poop on the ground, and let them sniff that area. That'll trigger in their brain, okay, this is where I poop, not in there. Got it. And then clean that spot with the vinegar to get rid of all the smell. Puppies are going to destroy everything. If it's within reach, they are going to chew on it, especially once they hit about 4 months old. I actually have a video coming out where we thought that they were chewing on their log that we gave them to chew on, and it turns out it was our baseboards. So apparently logs and baseboards sound the same when they're getting chewed on. You have to learn your dog's language. You and your puppy are 2 different species. Puppies are not humans. Puppies are not babies. We can treat them, we can spoil them. Just be okay with the amount of spoiling you do as a puppy. When they're full grown, they're going to still expect that level of spoiling, which means it'll be a lot more expensive and they might not fit in your lap anymore. They're also very needy. And they tell you they need that attention by doing what puppies do. They jump on you, they're gonna bite at you, they're going to paw at you, they're going to be obnoxious all of the time. And you just kinda have to try to redirect it. The best way I found for this is just keeping squeaky toys within reach at all times. And also keeping a bag of treats on you so that whenever they're doing what you want them to do, toss them a couple treats and tell them your marker word. Yes, we'll get into that in another video. Those are just a few of the ways that I run into on an almost daily basis that these puppies try to push me to my breaking point. And after working a full 8-hour day and having to deal with humans and kind of not being myself all day because I have to mask, and it's tiring, it's exhausting. I go to bed at 10 o'clock each night and pass out in like 30 minutes, and I've never slept this well in my life. But then they're up at 5:30, 5:45 whining because they need to go to the bathroom. That's just our routine at this point. Number 2, puppies are super time consuming. Like, I need to make sure you understand how much time you're going to need to put into this puppy. It's fully dependent on what do you want your dog to be like. If you just want a nice, well-behaved pet, yeah, you're gonna have to do a lot more upfront work. However, you won't have to keep up with it as much. If you're wanting to do agility or bite sports or train specialities with your dog, you're going to be essentially getting a full-time job on top of what you already are doing. So like my full-time job, I work 40 hours a week. Then I spend, on average, about 2 or 3 hours a night training these guys in different ways. In total, it's the rest of the night, whenever they're not in their crates, they're in training. Because my goal is to mentally wear them out to where they just go to sleep. I have specific things I want these dogs to do. Dolly is going to be my service dog, and also I'm going to see if she likes agility. And then Merle, we're going to put him in bite sports, but he's also going to be a therapy dog. Time consuming in the way where you are not going to sleep. You have to accept that you're going to lose an unholy amount of sleep for about 2 months. If your breeder or whoever you got the puppy from happened to be good at what they do and they started crate training them earlier, you're going to have a smoother time with this because they're already going to understand they need to sleep through the night. But most puppies are not going to start sleeping all the way through the night until they're about 3.5 months old. I got lucky. These guys picked up on it really quick, in part because I was making sure to mentally exhaust them by the time that they went to bed. They're gonna still wake up because they have to pee. As humans, we go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. It's normal. Puppies are the same way, but they have to wake you up in order to do that, or they're gonna pee in their crate. And we don't want them peeing in their crate. That being said, with the crate, I take the stance that they have to earn the bedding in their crate. So I did not give them bedding. Dolly, because she did have some pretty intense separation anxiety, we got her one of those really large lambs from PetSmart, and it calmed her down so much to where she could actually sleep in her crate without going through 40 minutes of just wailing because she was so mad that she was separated from her siblings. Merle, up until the last 3 days, hasn't wanted anything in his crate. I keep a chew toy and a stuffy toy in there so that he has something to do while he's in there and doesn't get bored and start trying to destroy things. But every time I put a blanket in, he would go 4 or 5 nights. I think the longest streak, he went 3 weeks without a potty accident in his crate. Put a blanket in there, instantly peed on it. He's now gotten 3 nights in a row without any accidents on this blanket, so he's finally getting there, and they are 4 months old. This takes time. That leading into how much time this is going to take. Training is not set in stone after a few weeks. Training with these guys, you have to do it constantly for the first year to 18 months of their life for them to really get it. So don't think just because, and I'm fully an advocate for finding a really good trainer who does group classes, because 1, that's how I started, and 2, that's how my mentor teaches. And we see a genuine difference in these dogs in just 6 weeks. But you can also tell which owners are taking their dog out and working with them on a day-to-day basis. I'm not saying that every single day you're gonna be training your dog perfectly. I don't even do that, and this is what I want to do for my life. Career path, at this point at least. I still have days where I am too exhausted to do any formal training. And that's when we go to games. That's when we use the bully sticks, the chewing toys, the thank God they love fetch and tennis balls. Because you can keep them engaged and it doesn't put too much of a mental tax on you. And I get it. Like, right now, my hyper focus is on the videos. And their training is taking a hit because I'm trying to plan out videos. Which means that whenever I am working with them, I have to laser in. Because 1, I'm testing my own theories and concepts, and 2, I still have a standard I expect them to be, but I have to show them that standard first. So don't think that this is just going to be like a 6-week course and your puppy's trained. No, this is an everyday thing for a year plus. And when you can commit to that up front and you know going into it that it's going to be that much work, maybe figure out if a puppy is actually what you're wanting or not. And if you can decide that you're okay with that commitment, go for it. But for the love of God, make sure that you have some people in your life that you can call up and be like, I just need to vent, because otherwise, like, I'm going to yeet the puppy, which we are never going to do that. But in that moment, you're so fried out, you're so tired, you're so frustrated. Like, you just need to get it out of your system. And when that happens, put them in the crate, go do something else. Leave your house, just go do something else. Make sure they have a toy or a chew or something in there to keep them busy, and just go. Because you have to balance that mental state of, you cannot work with these guys when you're too frustrated or too tired. And in the long run, while that might set you back a couple weeks where you're at right now, in the long run, that's so much better for them than acting out in that frustrated, aggressive way. Just because dogs don't learn from corrections until they know what is correct and what's not correct. Part of the time-consuming part is you're just going to have to add on at least an hour to your morning and night routines. At least. I'm probably just going to have to completely rechange them. So your dog's going to have to learn your routines. If you guys are getting any type of value out of this, I'd super appreciate you letting me know in the comments or giving it a like, which is going to take us into number 3, which is routines. Routines are going to be your best friend. And I know for my other ADHD people, we all just kind of died a little bit inside. But I'm kind of glad that I've got both the ADHD and the autism, because this is where the autism thrives. Building the routines, maintaining the routines. Puppies are going to essentially be the external voice of that side of my brain. And they are. I don't use an alarm clock anymore because in the mornings, I know by 5:30, 5:45 at the absolute latest, I think I've slept until 5:50 one day. They are like, we gotta go, get us out of here. And you can tell their howls are different. They have different vocalizations to tell us what they need. So just because they're mad and they don't want to be in their crate, they're gonna whine and howl in one sound. They really gotta pee, that's gonna be another sound. For these guys, they get really high pitched when they gotta pee. It's kind of like you could hear in their voice, they're doing the potty dance. They're like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. On top of that, I will let them outside in the mornings, and they know after about 15 minutes, that means that I've gotten my coffee in me. I've kind of woken up a little bit to where I can function. Them inside, they'll get their food, and I'll feed them in their crates because that helps them like their crate. They get a treat every time they go in their crate, because right now we are building that crate as a safe space, and it's your space, and it's where you get food. So we like the crate. Eat as close to the same time as possible. A lot of places, and it is good advice, tell you to feed your puppy like 3 or 4 times a day. Base that on your dog, because these guys would not eat in the middle of the day. They will eat in the morning and they will eat at night, and it's been this way since I brought them home. So I'm pretty sure I'd asked my mom, and that's how she was feeding them whenever she started them on their mush and everything. She fed them twice a day because she fed them and she fed their mom at the same time. That's what they were used to. So talk with your breeder or wherever you're getting your puppy from and ask them what their feeding schedule was. And getting a potty schedule going is going to save you sanity, it's going to save you time, and hopefully deter all of the having to clean up accidents. A potty schedule is essentially you take your dog out every few hours. Every 2 to 4 hours, they get to go outside and go potty. I typically try to let them run around for about 15-20 minutes, because a lot of puppies, whenever they go potty, it's to just relieve that pressure of, like, you know, whenever your bladder's really, really full and you're like, I'm not 100% sure I'm gonna make it to the bathroom this time. That's what they're feeling. They feel that intense pressure and they will go pee. This usually is with pee. Poop, they'll usually poop the whole thing. But usually whenever they'll pee just enough to relieve that pressure. So if you can get them moving and everything, it's gonna make their body go, oh yeah, we did need to do that again, actually. We still have some in here. So if you can get that 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, however much you can, get them moving, get them chasing something. You're probably going to see them potty at least one more time there. And make sure while you're doing your potty schedule that you're taking these guys out after they wake up, after any super intense play session inside. If you are playing really intensely, they stop and start sniffing the ground, go outside. They're going to have an accident. And if you can catch them enough times to get them outside before they have that accident, you're gonna speed up your potty training. If you have multiple puppies, just assume that they are going to have to go to the bathroom at the same time. So if one of them is starting to sniff, get both of them outside, because they're both going to go. These guys are almost clockwork. Merle almost always goes potty first, followed about 2 minutes later by Dolly. So it's really easy to be like, oh, he's about to have an accident, okay. And we do have bells on both the front door, which they see more often, and the door they actually go outside. That way they can, they understand that sound means outside. Bells haven't really worked for these guys, but they do nose them about 50% of the time. Like, it's just very slowly they're starting to understand what the bells are for. And if I try to sit there and make them paw at them, they get scared of them. So bells have just kind of been an association thing. They ring every time they go outside, and they get like an enthusiastic, yes, good potty every time they go to the bathroom. Because that's really the only thing that we've got to work with these two. Now, number 4 is more for when you start taking your puppy out in public after he's got their first couple rounds of shots in them. You gotta just understand that you're gonna look real weird training your dog, especially in public. Like, you're gonna look weird no matter where you're training your dog, but in public other people see it. And you kind of just gotta tune them out and focus on your puppy. Again, this comes back to, you gotta work the puppy and let them know what is acceptable behavior and what's not. To us, jumping, biting, nipping, not acceptable. Especially when you take them out in public and other people see you're working through that. A lot of people are like, oh, they don't know what they're doing. Why do they have a dog? They obviously aren't trained. Well, no, it's not trained. It's in training. All puppies are in training for like the first year of their life. They're learning how to exist in the human world, because that's not something that they understand. So no puppy is trained. Try to ignore, as hard as it is, try to ignore the looks of other people. Again, this is when headphones are going to come in real handy, because you're going to be talking to your dog the whole time. You're going to be going, yes, good sit, good down, that's a good stay. Things like that. You're going to be saying it all the time. And when you have a dog, people are going to assume that you're talking to the dog. But if you have headphones, you might just be on a call. So if you're walking with your dog, while you're walking and you're trying to keep that dog engaged with you so it doesn't start tugging on the leash and develop that bad habit, you're talking with them the whole time. Yeah, that's good. Walking good, no pool. Oh yeah, and then you drop a couple treats to them every now and then. Let them know they're doing good. Stay engaged with them. Make yourself the most interesting thing to that dog. The other thing is, a lot of people do not understand, this kind of is going to lead to the next point as well, that sitting is the please and thank you of the dog world. It just is. If your dog wants something, it needs to sit for it. If it wants to be pet by other people, they need to let your dog sit first. That flows into our number 5, which is you have to have the mentality of being your dog's leader. This is not the pack leader theory where you have to have a submissive dog or anything like that. No, this is, you need to understand that if you are going to take on the responsibilities of owning and training a dog, especially a puppy, you have to understand you have to advocate for that dog, because otherwise it's going to advocate for itself in the only way it knows how. And that's how you get bit. That's how people get angry at dogs, and it's going to cause you a lot of pain in the long run. So what do I mean by that? Well, back to that last example, if someone wants to pet your dog, you need to tell them, yes, you may pet them. I need to put them in a sit first, and they have to stay in that sit while you pet them. They are also not allowed to nip or bite at you. If they do that, please stop interacting with them so they don't develop that habit with strangers. Because the last thing you want is some little kid running up on your dog and your dog biting them because that little kid looked them dead in the eyes and just like grabbed their face. It's how a lot of people get bit, because they don't pay attention. They don't ask. And little kids especially, like a lot of adults don't pay attention to their small humans. And it's really frustrating as a dog owner because even with Merle, he's very much still learning to control his bite. Because I don't let these guys, I let them bite at things. I let them bite toys. I let them bite balls. I let them bite things because I want them both to retrieve things to me. So they need to be able to understand how to use their mouth. That being said, they've gotten to the point where they pretty much don't nibble at human flesh unless you have a treat. So that's what I want. It's been 2 months of that. But last week I had Merle out, we were walking around Marshall's, and this small human, probably like less than 4 years old, just ran up and got right in his face. And I just had this moment where I had him in a down stay, and I'm 3 feet away. And I have my foot on his leash still because I don't want him to get up. But that kid got so close, and I saw him reach out with his head, and my only thought was, please, please don't bite. Please don't nip. Please just lick. And he did. And I had a huge sigh of relief, and confidence shot through the roof of his training progress. But that small human's adults were around the corner not paying any attention. And while I still had full attention on my dog, I wasn't staring at him because we were working on a stay. I had him in my peripheral because that's how I teach stay. Another big thing about being your dog's leader that you need to understand, that all of us need to understand, is what takes humans 18 years takes a dog 1. Like, a dog is ready to be full-fledged, unless it's a giant breed, then it can take up to 3. But like a medium-sized dog, like your golden retrievers, things like that, they are full-grown and adults at a year old. So that's when people are talking about the teenage phase and everything. That's like 7-8 months. And you will start seeing, like, your dog's gonna test boundaries as it gets older. And it's gonna start thinking, oh, well, I'm the strong one in this relationship, so I need to protect everything. Being your dog's advocate and being your dog's leader means that you do not let them get that mindset, because that is how they resource guard, and they will resource guard you. If your dog does not think that you have the ability to take care of yourself, it will step up and do that job, because that's how dogs think. You need to be the strong one in that relationship to keep that dog from trying to take over everything. You have to be willing to let your dog know from day one that I can take care of myself. You do not have to. You get to be chill and calm and enjoy life. I can handle this. Even with service dogs, that is the attitude you have to take. However, service dogs are trained to know when that script needs to be flipped. Pet dogs do not, unless their owners are really, really, really good at training. A lot of pet dogs don't know there's a difference. Service dogs, when they alert or they make their owner do something, or they're taking care of their owner, that is because they've had years of training to do that. Most service dogs don't get matched up with a handler for like diabetic alert dogs, seeing eye dogs, hearing dogs, things like that. Usually don't get paired until they're at least 2 years old, and they have been in training since they were 6 to 8 weeks old to do that job. That is the difference between a service dog and a pet. It's also why you don't interact with service dogs, because at all times they are working even when it does not look like they are. I kind of touched on this already. You have to be very careful because other people will ruin your dog's training. If you tell someone that they cannot pet your dog because they're in training, a lot of people will respect that. You're going to run into the people who don't do that. And it's obnoxious and it's stupidly frustrating because they think they're entitled to pet every dog that they see, when that is not the case. You have to monitor your dog. You have to understand your dog's language enough to see when they need a break. When they are overwhelmed and their tail starts to tuck because they are just completely overstimulated, you have to be willing to step in and be like, yo, you're gonna have to stop. My dog is showing signs of stress, and this is no longer a positive interaction for them. We're going to remove ourselves from the situation. I guess that should have been one. Puppies are going to teach you to set boundaries with other people. Like, I think I have set more boundaries with other humans in regards to what they can and cannot do with my puppies than I have most humans for anything. So like, before I recap these points, because I know I did a lot of filler talk in there, go ahead and if you guys are enjoying this content at all, getting any type of value from it, please let me know either in the comments or by liking. And if this is the type of content you want to see more of, where we are training dogs from a neurodivergent perspective, go ahead and subscribe because we're going to be putting out weekly videos. That being said, here's the recap. Point to no, scream, go. 1, puppies are going to constantly take you to your breaking point and past it. 2, they're extremely time consuming. 3, they require routines. 4, you've got to be okay with being seen as weird as heck while working with your dog. And 5, you have to have the mentality of being your dog's advocate and leader. Those are 5 things to make sure that you know before getting a puppy or a dog. Hope you guys have a great day.